Hey, it's Easter. I'm redoing this tutorial because I went over by about 4 minutes, so I'm going to rush through a few things, but it should be quite clear. So we're going to make an intro kind of thing, and it should look quite sleek, as you can see. It looks like this. The background starts sort of in focus and then goes blurry as the title sort of becomes in focus. So you see it's quite clear. And then you come along and it blurs and you get the title and it looks quite cool. So we're going to go into After Effects. As you can see, I've already got this all done already, but let's start again. So you're going to want to add your clip to a new composition, and as you can see it's the same clips we had, but we want to get it to the right bit because when I record it doesn't start straight away. Oh, I just need to change the settings on this. It's about 5 seconds. Okay, that's better. So now we have our clip. Looking good, but obviously we've got the spectator and everything, so just click scale it up. Maybe not too much so you lose the detail, but just enough so it fills the screen now. So that looks good. And what we'll do is we'll start out by adding the text. So I'm just going to call this tutorial. We'll just do this on the one layer, but the idea is the same for doing it on the other side as well. Now what you want to do is you're going to want to keyframe this alongside with this, the statue or the thing that you're going to probably make in focus. So you're going to start by keyframing the position. So say we like it where it's by his arm, like that, and then we go to the end, and you're going to move it and put it to where roughly his arm was. You can do it by this line as well, try and make it horizontal if your clip is horizontal, and now you can see it's animated quite nicely. So your next stage is to add all this blurriness. So you're going to want to duplicate your layer, so Control D for your video layer that is, and I want to rename this statue. I don't know how to spell, so I'll just call this first focus, and I put that with an X. Right. And now what we want to do is we want to animate our tutorial and our first focus to be blurry and then come into focus at the same time. So we want to do it first. Well, with our first focus we actually need to add a mask, so it's just the statue. And what I did for this was just I made quite a large square for the mask, and it looked like that. And now what you need to do is on your mask path, I just clicked M for that by the way, keyframe it so it goes along with the statue as well. So then you get your mouse tool, you need to use one of the points to drag it, and then you put it onto your statue again, and now you have a layer that's just your statue. So let's go back to where we are, where we go Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Fast Blur. Now what we want to do is when we want it to up to where we want it to be blurry, we're going to keyframe and make it 10. So now we can see it's blurry. However, the problem with this is now we've got quite a harsh line compared to the background to what it should look like. So we need to make the mask feather. So you press M and then just double click that to bring down all the options, and then put this up to about 150. I found it's quite good. So now if we look, that line isn't as harsh and it blends a lot more and looks quite good. So if we press E now and bring up our first blur keyframes, now within say a few seconds we want it to be unblurred. So say about here we want it to be unblurred. Still got the keyframe thing highlighted. Press 0, enter, and it's there. And now you can see it becomes unblurry. Now we want to add the same thing to our tutorial layer. Then we can go Effect. Oh, highlight the tutorial first, sorry. And then Fast Blur. Keyframe it. Start it out at 10, like the same thing. then go to the end and put it down to 0, and now we get the same look and it comes into focus. Now we need to do the same thing but opposite for the background, so then it works in harmony. So fast blur, so here we want it to be 0 keyframe, and then at the end we want it to be the same blurriness, which was 10. So now we get this cool look where it starts in focus and then they both change, so then the front bit's in focus. Now just to add a little bit more depth to this, we're going to make a new solid and gonna want to scale it up to about 200 and zoom out so we can see the whole thing. And then we're going to want to go effect, stimulation, stimulate sounds cooler. And I'm going to drag this down, the producer down to the bottom and across so it covers the whole radius. Make the birth rate 0.1, go to physics, make the velocity, oh not the velocity, sorry, the gravity -1, and make this 12, and then go to particle, make it faded sphere, and then you want to make these white or whitish, or white usually works the best. And now if we zoom in you can see these spheres coming up, but as you can see as the camera goes across so do the particles stay with it, and we don't want that. We want it to make it look like it's actually in the picture or whatever. So we're going to start out by animating this, so press P now, keyframe it, and I just want to do this kind of roughly because it's going to be quite hard to do. Go across, and then I would have said that was about there. So now when we zoom in and we look at our spheres, they go across with the rest of the video. And that's pretty much it for this section. We're going to go into Sony Vegas once this renders. So you're going to go add to render queue, go to Xbox videos, and then we'll just put it here, tutorial 001. So we're going to save that and then start it rendering, and I'll be back in Sony Vegas in a second. Okay, and now we're back in Vegas, and as you can see we've got the clip imported now, and our last step is to add some sort of camera movement, because at the moment it's kind of a bit bland, it's not really doing much. As you can see it's just going to the side. So what I did was I just did some kind of random zooms and twists. I think what looks good is if you kind of make it more abstract, so like it's harder to read the text almost. Maybe not as, I'm using this as a reference for how close it is, and then go on a bit and go the other direction, zoom out a bit, and then by the end we want it to be fully sort of out roughly, something like that. Because now if we do a quick scan through this, it should goes in, you can see the tutorial, and then it should start to go in focus, and then we go past, and like the more you play with it the better this is going to look. If you just take a quick look, it kind of just makes it a bit harder to read and makes sort of the viewer pay more attention. But we're done now, add some music, but that's pretty much it. Thanks guys.